Sage Mode and KCM are Naruto's first two major forms he gets access to that he can enter willingly to power up. These forms were also both unlocked by Naruto around the same time, with Naruto training to unlock KCM almost directly after his fight with Pain. These forms also have some direct comparisons drawn between them within the manga regarding their combat ability, and thus, it's no wonder fans discuss which of these two forms is the better overall form or the stronger form, and that is the exact subject I will be breaking down in today's video. I think which form is better overall is the superior way to view this comparison, as the way these two compare is a little too nuanced to just call one overall stronger. I'm going to be breaking down how these forms compare in various aspects to give a comprehensive view of how they match up. This video will be broken into chapters for each comparison I make between the forms. I would of course recommend just watching the entire video if you want to get the full picture, as something I say in an earlier section may give context for or be referenced in a later section, but feel free to jump around if you really only care about a specific comparison. The only other thing I feel needs specifying is that this is comparing Naruto's KCM before befriending Kurama and further mastering Kurama's chakra, often referred to by fans as KCM1. For anyone still a little confused, any version of KCM prior to Naruto using the Avatar state. Unless I specify otherwise, this is the version of KCM I am referring to when I say KCM during this video. Now, real quick before I begin, I would really appreciate it if you liked the video and subscribed. I post Naruto content just like this video frequently, so if you enjoy the video, you'll have plenty more to watch. Starting off with comparing the power boosts these two forms provide. In other words, how hard these make you hit or how strong these forms make you physically. This is a little hard to get a good direct comparison on, and there are various factors that just make it difficult to give a definitive comparison. Sage Mode will increase your strength the same amount even when your base state grows in power, as to enter Sage Mode you draw in nature energy and balance it with your own chakra pool. So if you increase the chakra in your base state through training, you would draw in more nature energy to enter Sage Mode. On the other hand, KCM is Naruto drawing chakra from a set pool of chakra he stole from Kurama, so the form would not have a power-up that scales off the base state of the user. On top of this, there are various ways to assess the power of these two forms, such as KCM letting Naruto use Body Flicker, which we know increases how hard you physically hit via the speed increase. While this is a way KCM could hit harder than Sage Mode, it isn't directly related to the amp the form gives you on top of your base. There are many other things complicating this, like KCM's chakra arms likely having a different level of speed than Naruto's physical body, and by virtue of this, potentially a different power. This would be further supported by Naruto struggling to control the strength of the chakra arms when on Turtle Island, despite having fought in Sage Mode recently and never showing issues controlling its power. So this would imply the chakra arms have a greater level of power than Sage Mode, but these chakra arms don't necessarily apply to Naruto's normal physical attacks in KCM. On top of all of this, there is multiple ways to compare the power of these two forms that aren't all necessarily the same. You could compare taijutsu power, the lifting strength, power using jutsu, and so on. I don't think there's a good way for me to definitively compare these two in power due to all the factors I have mentioned. So I will go over some potential reasons people seem to use to argue one of these forms being more powerful than the other, and why I don't think they're very valid arguments. Probably the most common one I see is Naruto says he is stronger than when he fought Pain. Naruto is in KCM when he says this, and obviously Naruto fought Pain in Sage Mode, but this is not saying that KCM is a better form than Sage Mode. Naruto has grown in combat generally due to his training, as well as trained his Sage Mode specifically. So even if Naruto never gained KCM, he would still be stronger than when he fought Pain due to a stronger base state and a better Sage Mode. Naruto also says he is stronger than when he fought Pain, right after dodging an attack using one of his chakra arms. So saying stronger here just means he punches harder is a little ridiculous, on top of the prior context of this not just directly comparing the two forms. Another potential comparison I could see between the two forms is later in the same fight, Naruto used KCM when attacking Nagato's Shibaku Tensei, when Itachi specifically said they should all use their most powerful ranged ninjutsu. This could potentially mean Naruto thinks he can output more power in KCM, but it could also easily be the case that it would be unreasonable for Naruto to exit KCM and then build up the nature energy to enter Sage Mode, then summon clones to perform the Rasen Shuriken, all while being actively pulled in by Nagato's Shibaku Tensei. Naruto still can't just instantly enter Sage Mode, so this would seem a little unreasonable to do in such a dire situation. I would say this is similarly a pretty poor comparison. I would say the strongest argument in KCM's favor is that it's Naruto's go-to form once achieving it, and it is supposed to be Naruto's next step in the power progression. Throughout part 2, Naruto and Sasuke are constantly gaining new abilities and power-ups right around the same time to constantly stay rivals. For example, we see an early form of Sage Mode and the Mangekyo awaken within the same chapter. Then, in back-to-back arcs, Sasuke progresses his Mangekyo greatly, and Naruto masters Sage Mode and has a fight within it. You could easily say that KCM and the Eternal Mangekyo are achieved around the same time, so these are both meant to be the next step up in Naruto and Sasuke's power progression. Like I said, I think this is the strongest argument in KCM's favor, but there is still a little that makes it shaky. The biggest problem is that it being the better form doesn't mean it has to be better in every aspect possible. KCM can still be the better form overall, and not give Naruto as much raw power as Sage Mode. There is also still the problem of which aspect of strength you're talking about. KCM Naruto almost never actually uses physical attacks, and almost always uses jutsu when in combat, whereas Sage Mode seems to be a lot more physical in the way he fights. So you could say that maybe Sage Mode has stronger physical power, but KCM allows a higher power output through jutsu. So overall, I would say the most definitive thing is that KCM is likely stronger using chakra arms than Sage Mode is. And if you made me pick one that is the overall stronger form in terms of power, it would probably be KCM, just based on the narrative aspect of it being Naruto's power progression. But again, I think it's a little more nuanced than just saying KCM is the stronger form in every way. Now, moving on to how these two forms compare in speed, this section is a little easier. Some may immediately think of the fact that these two forms are directly compared in terms of speed during the third Raikage fight, where Naruto says that Sage Mode is faster. But this is actually wrong and stems from a mistranslation or some faulty wording at best. The official translation of the manga makes the wording a little vague and may make it seem like Naruto is saying that Sage Mode has a wider danger sense, and on top of this, Sage Mode is faster. But even this statement can be interpreted as Naruto saying the danger sense is both wider and faster. And if you translate the raws, it would agree with this. So this statement is definitely not Naruto saying that Sage Mode is faster, and this would be pretty consistent with KCM's speed being much more highlighted. The literal first time Naruto ever uses KCM, we see him blitz Kisame, and everyone is absolutely shocked by his speed. On top of this, later when Naruto is struggling with the speed of the 4th Raikage, he decides to continue to use KCM, and the end of the scene is supposed to praise Naruto's speed in this form. So it's Naruto's go-to form, even when he is struggling in speed. It would be weird if Sage Mode is notably faster, and Naruto decided to continue to use a slower form. Now, it is relevant to mention that Naruto is able to use Body Flicker in KCM, and this is definitely a potential reason that he is faster in the form. Body Flicker is a basic jutsu, but not all shinobi use it in combat, and KCM 1 seems to be the first time Naruto begins to do this. When using Body Flicker, Naruto is so fast he struggles to even handle his own speed. The first time he does it against Kisame, he gets stuck in a wall, and against a Zetsu, he runs into a tree from just outputting too much power. Similar to the chakra arms, what you would say is that Naruto has fought in Sage mode and never had an issue handling the speed, so it would definitely imply that KCM is the faster form. There is also the fact that you can definitely argue Sage mode does not have a massive speed increase. To be clear, Sage mode does make you faster, but you can look at examples like Naruto keeping up with Pain in his base form, and then right after, Pain could react to Naruto in Sage mode. So while it clearly does make you faster, the difference isn't so massive that opponents you were relative to before can no longer keep up with you. Overall, I would say it's pretty clear that KCM 1 takes speed. Moving on to sensory, I think this category is also pretty clear. I just got done explaining that Naruto directly says Sage mode has a wider and faster danger sense. The context to this is he's fighting the third Raikage, which means the sensory should be better in combat. This is pretty consistent with the feats Sage mode has, like Naruto sensing the entire war all from Turtle Island. Sage mode just seems to have a better and wider overall sensory than KCM ever shows. There are some difference in the specifics of sensory, however. Sage mode is not just a direct upgrade in every aspect possible, like KCM's ability to differentiate between doubles of people with identical chakra signatures, as seen during the war with Zetsu. But if you have to pick one that is better in sensory, Sage mode is just pretty clearly better, and Naruto seems to just directly say this. Moving on to the various abilities of the forms that don't really fit into one category. Starting with Sage mode, I think the most underrated aspect of Sage mode is that you cannot get tired while in the form. Paul explains this as because you are drawing in nature energy constantly, you will not progressively tire like shinobi do normally. And we see this during Naruto's fight with Pain, where he shows no signs of fatigue, and then the second he exits Sage mode, he is suddenly sweating and huffing and puffing. On top of this inability to fatigue, Pa explains that you will heal and recover quicker whilst in Sage mode. The next interesting ability from Sage mode is Frog Gata. We see Naruto first use this against Pain, where he misses a punch and is still able to hit Pain, as the nature energy surrounding his body is able to extend the range of his attacks. This is of course very helpful in off-guarding opponents, as they'll be very surprised when you miss an attack and they still get hit by it. We see Naruto use this later in the war with Frog Strike, and it's explained in the databook that this is an internal attack. The databook specifically says this is effective even against opponents with a strong defense, and attacking somebody internally is a way to bypass their durability. This is even a concept in universe based on the Gentle Fist. Another relevant thing about Sage mode is that whilst in Sage mode, even your normal jutsu will become Senjutsu. This of course just powers up your jutsu generally, but can also have some extra utility in certain cases, as seen during the war when Senjutsu was required to damage people like Jubito. This won't always be relevant, but can certainly have its applications. The last relevant thing I want to mention about Sage mode is that Sage mode can be further mastered even after being a supposedly perfect sage, as even adult Naruto improves his Sage mode, saying he can maintain the form longer, showing that he has found a way to greater master the form. There are of course many more things I could go over about Sage mode, but both of these forms have a myriad of abilities, and I thought these were just the most relevant ones to mention. As for the abilities that KCM grants, the most relevant ones are certainly Naruto's chakra arms. We see Naruto use these for various applications, such as being able to perform a Rasengan or Rasen Shuriken without having to summon a clone anymore. But he also just used these in combat to be unpredictable, such as when he launches himself at Mu to get an advantage. He can also attack several opponents at the same time by summoning several chakra arms. On top of all of this, as I noted earlier, these chakra arms seem to be even stronger than Naruto himself. So even though they seem pretty basic, I think these chakra arms are actually a pretty insane advantage. They're incredibly strong, very versatile, increase your range, are unpredictable, and give you extra limbs in combat. The other thing about KCM is that it seems like Naruto has more Rasengan variants he can use in this form. I say seems because there's not a reason these new variants are directly related to KCM outside of things like the mini Rasen Shuriken, but we see Naruto use new variants in this form that he never uses in Sage Mode, so I thought it was relevant to mention it. The final thing about KCM is Naruto's ability to use Body Flicker in the form. I went over this earlier, but this is just a way for Naruto to greatly increase his speed and thus power in KCM. This category is not going to have a definitive winner, because this was just comparing the more miscellaneous abilities of the two forms. As for which form is the superior overall form, as I said, I think it's a little more nuanced than that, and that's why I broke it down category by category. But if I had to pick one that is the better overall form, I would go with KCM at the time it is introduced, as like I said, it is Naruto's next step up in power progression. But, as I also specified, Sage Mode will continue to scale as Naruto gets stronger, and he can continue to improve it over time. So, as an adult, when Naruto is much stronger and has improved the form, this comparison won't necessarily hold true anymore. Overall, both forms have their usages, but Sage Mode potentially will just be more relevant later into Naruto's life. On top of this, Naruto is no longer using KCM1 obviously, as he has moved on to superior variants.